right, so I have Vanessa and Michaela. I think Mimi is, oh, there she is. Okay, there you go. All right, so, okay, you already started recording. Okay, good. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us for this RAP Liaison chat call training webinar, however you'd like to title it. We wanted to have this opportunity to meet with you guys today. It's been a long time coming. We haven't really had just a RAP Liaison meeting in a really long time, and we recognize that we do have a lot of new liaisons. There's a lot of changes that have happened within RAP. And sometimes just those monthly WDP calls, just not enough time to, talk all things RAP. RAP can take up a whole conversation. So we thought it'd be important to just kind of have our own meeting, as well as you guys know, or if you don't know, I am expecting and I'll be going on maternity leave in a few weeks. So towards the end of this month, I'll be leaving for maternity leave. And so just wanted to make sure that we had, again, an opportunity to meet with you, to answer all of your questions that you have, share any of the RAP updates, and just make sure that you guys are set up for success as I leave. But I'm leaving you in great hands with my RAP team here. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you guys are good. So in addition to this call that we're having now with everyone, sharing some information, I do plan to have an individual call with each liaison. So again, we don't have a lot of time, but hopefully we can have, just a quick call just to answer any of your questions and meet individually before I make my way out. So with that, we're just going to do a quick introduction of my team. Again, just because a lot of you are new, some of you were able to come to the orientation, some of you were not. And also, again, because we're recording this, and so whoever misses this will have this information as well. So again, I'm Sylvia Staples. I am your Resource Assistance Program Manager. I am physically located in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been in this role since about, I think, September of 2021. I've been in this role, and but I've been managing RAP since about 2017, starting out in the regional office in Atlanta out of the Southern Regional Office. So that's me, and I'll be kind of giving you guys the bulk of the presentation today. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Vanessa.
Hi, all. I'm Lady Vanessa Reyes, Jordan she and her. You can call me either Lady or Vanessa. I like both names. I am program specialist of this program. I started out as an RA and transitioned into this role. Have been with the Washington office from the beginning, and I am in DC. So yeah, I think I help mostly on onboarding, our engagement, and yeah, I think a lot of other admin things that you might have heard from me in the past few months.
All right, Michaela Hall.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michaela Hall. I'm a partnership coordinator with the Workforce Diversity Workforce Development Program. I coordinate various projects with the RAP team, and I look forward to this call and supporting you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michaela Pryor. Y'all can call me Mimi. I'm the resource assistant for RAP.
You're on mute, Sylvia.
Thank you. All right, so I was just saying thanks, team, for that introduction. So we are the main resource assistant program staff out of the Washington office, here to support you in various ways. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to, again, go through a quick presentation. Again, some of you will know a lot of this information. Others of you may not. I didn't want to assume how much of an understanding you guys had of the RAP program. So again, some of the information I'm going to share, some of you have probably already heard it, you know it like the back of your hand, like Daisy, for instance. But again, this is going to be recorded and hopefully shared with others, because as you guys know, in the Forest Service, we love to go in details. So in case a detailer or someone comes in, they can look back at this recording and kind of get this general information. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. One moment. Okay, and Vanessa, let me know when you guys can see this.
Something's coming. Oh, yep, there we are.
Good? Okay, perfect. All right. So welcome again to the Resource System Program Region Station Area Liaisons meeting. We are going to, oh, did I stop sharing?
Yeah, it's gone.
Sorry.
You're good.
Let's try that again. Okay, can you see this now?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, so welcome again to the liaison meeting. Again, today we're going to talk all things resource assistance program, and we're going to answer any questions that you guys might have. So we try and capture all of the liaisons that we have for the resource assistance program. This is just a quick list of the current liaisons that we have. And we know that there has been some changes. Actually, I see a mistake I made. I put Nancy on Region 5. But there's going to be some changes, we know. So anytime there are any changes within your liaison group, please let us know if there's going to be someone that's going to be temporary filling behind you, or if someone is going to be permanently coming in behind you. This role is very important to the work that we do to support us as the Washington office, the RAs, as well as the partners. So it's very important for us to keep track of who the current RA liaisons are. If you don't see your name and you're on this call and it should be here somewhere, please let us know. If you do see your name, but it should be someone else, please let us know. So let's wrap. So first, I want to talk about RAP, the objectives of the program, the eligibility and the benefits. How do we even get here? All of those things. So the objective of this program, as you can see, is to attract and retain a diverse and inclusive workforce. This program, as I always like to say, is not another one of those get work done programs. It is a program that specifically outlines and allows us to target underrepresented communities, focusing on your HSIs, which are going to be your Hispanic serving institutions, your HBCUs, which are going to be your historically Black colleges and universities, your tribal colleges, as well as women. So this program allows us to focus on those underrepresented groups and to remove those barriers that they have had within the government, and especially in the Forest Service, to give them an opportunity that provides them with what we call an immersive paid experience in various position types, and to get their foot into the door through the various hiring authorities that they receive. So again, with this program, also the Resource Assistance Program, if you guys are not familiar with the Justice 40, we are considered a covered program. So a lot of the work that we have been recently doing, especially outlining like climate, talking about climate and sustainability, talking about environmental justice, having the climate cohort, all of those are initiatives that we as a program are taking to contribute our part as a covered program under the Justice 40 initiative. The Resource Assistance Program isn't like anything else in the agency, right? So we have your temporary programs, your temp hire, you have your pathways, but no other program that we have in the agency has the legislative authority that supports the work that we're trying to do. And so this program is very, very unique, and we try to make sure we treat it in that way. And so that's the reason why a lot of the things that we do, we're very strategic about it and very intentional about how we manage this program and the expectations that we have for you as a liaison. So the eligibility for the program is pretty simple. They must be a U.S. citizen to apply for the RA positions, or a permanent resident. Now, in the past, yes, we have engaged RAs that were DACA, had a DACA status, or weren't U.S. citizens. And like I said, yes, we've done it in the past, but it's not something that we like to continue to do, just because it always puts them in a situation where, yes, they receive this amazing experience. However, there's no end goal for them. They don't have an opportunity to be able to convert or apply or be appointed into a position in the agency. So again, we like to try and make sure that we focus on U.S. citizen and permanent resident for our RA positions. In addition to that, also we like to focus on current student and recent graduates. Our preference is going to be a recent grad. For current students, it always seems to present them a challenge when trying to, participate in the program while also managing their school workload, because there are expectations for them to treat this as a real job. I like to call the RAP program a long-term interview. And so, if they have expectations to show up and, work 40 hours a week with their mentor, that's that expectation. So a lot of times it's hard to juggle school commitments and their RA-ship. And I know a lot of them have tried to do it, especially if they, find themselves in a virtual position. But if we do have any current students, then we try to encourage the mentors, if you do select a current student, that they are on the tail end of their program. So let's say they may be a senior and they're in their last semester. So, they won't have much longer before they're able to then commit to a full-time schedule. And in the RAP program, we only offer full-time or part-time. There's nothing in between that we can offer. And so it's really important for someone to be able to commit to, again, a full-time work schedule or part-time. As far as the benefits to the program, or the eligibility, still speaking on the eligibility piece for the actual certificate. So once they're in the program, then they are responsible for completing 960 hours. That's roughly about 6.5 months that they are supposed to complete in order to satisfy the hour requirement. And they must have a minimum of associate's degree. The majority of our RAs do have a bachelor's degree. We even have some that have master's degrees and PhDs. But in addition to that, they must also just satisfactorily complete the program. So they do a good job. The host unit has signed off on it. They hit those hours. They have a degree. Then they're eligible to be to receive their certificate. Now, there are cases where we might have, again, a current student that may finish their hours, but then they don't have that degree. So if they don't have a degree, then we cannot issue them a certificate, okay? So again, if you do have an RA that has completed the hour requirement but has not completed their degree, you cannot issue them a certificate. And that's something that the partners also know. So that'll be on the statement of completion that you would receive when issuing their certificate. So I just wanted to point that out. And I'll actually say the benefits for the slide so you guys can kind of see the breakdown of the benefits. So again, just to give you a little bit more background information too about the cohort model. So back in 2020 is when the cohort model was introduced to the agency. Prior to that, we were working and managing the program with various agreements at various levels, whether it was in the Washington office, regional office, the forest, even a district. So there are various agreements that we had with our partners, and we weren't really seeing a positive outcome of what the program intent was. And so, we had folks coming in, getting work done, but they weren't being hired. In addition to that, not only were they not being hired, but they also weren't receiving quality experiences. So RAP 2.0 was introduced again in 2020. So with this cohort model, we have a winter cohort and we have a summer cohort. The winter cohort typically starts in the month of February, and the summer cohort usually starts in June, but you guys will see once we get to the timeline that there's been a slight shift in that start, but that's the typical start times. Yes, we understand that there are sometimes challenges with trying to, fit your RA needs within the cohort. But I think that's the beauty of treating this program differently than you would temp hire or any other program. You have to be intentional. And by providing two cohorts that are running 8 and 12 months long, you're able to hit all seasons, right? So it's just a matter of understanding when your work needs to be done, when those heavy field seasons are, that you know that you can provide a good quality experience. Not so much about when can we get someone in to get all this work done, but when will we have activities so that we can, support the development of someone and really teach them and train them in a specific job. So it's important for you as a liaison to understand that so that you can then have conversations with the units within your area so that they can make the right decision as far as which cohort they should choose. With those cohort start dates, our application period can vary, but it's typically in the month of September and October for that winter cohort, and February, March for the summer cohort. And again, you guys will see this kind of in the timeline that I'll share here in a little bit. Again, our offering of terms, again, are going to be 8 or 12 months. We no longer have the 6-month RAs. So again, as you're talking to the units, you're just gonna make sure that they understand that it's 8 or 12 months. Yes, we do offer extensions, but we are really trying to position ourselves in a way that the extensions are for hiring only, not to get more work done, but to actually hire the individual. So again, as you're working and talking to your units about those extensions, that should be the conversation. Within our cohorts, we have a wide range of positions in virtual, in person, and as you guys have seen, they are ranging from climate positions to law enforcement, admin, law enforcement officer, archaeology, budget and finance. We have some foresters, wildlife biologists, a little bit of everything in the resource assistance program. And as you have also noticed, we have been able to kind of expand a little bit more into the other deputy areas, which is what we wanted to do. So we've had a number of R&D positions that have been requested in the last couple of cohorts. And so it's been really great to see RAs engaged in that capacity, being able to work with scientists. The next thing I want to talk about really quickly would be orientation. All RAs must be provided an orientation. With this cohort model, we are able to have the one larger orientation per cohort. We have, of course, once this was introduced, the 2.0 model had to have those virtual orientations. But then just this year, we have been we were successful with having 2 in-person orientations, the winter cohort orientation of this year, as well as the summer cohort orientation that was in person. So they both went really well, but those are mandatory. So if you are in one of those regions that have regional partners and you're engaging RAs outside of the cohort model, which again, we'll talk more about that a little later too, as we get more direction from leadership as far as what the future holds for those regional partners and regional agreements. But it's important for you to understand that the orientation is still mandatory. So unless your RA is going through our national orientation, you as a liaison are responsible for making sure that they receive some sort of an orientation as they start their position. Okay. The other beauty or the other part and beauty of the cohort model is just having that peer-to-peer support. When we were engaging RAs on an individual basis, they were just working in various units by themselves. Then have that peer-to-peer support. And so with the cohort model, especially now that they're able to meet in person prior to their position start, they are creating and developing lifelong friendships that go, well beyond the RAP program, well beyond the Forest Service. So there's a different level of support that they're able to receive, especially because this program is designed for underrepresented groups that have a different type of challenge that others may not understand. So what I mean by that is, even myself, when I started in the agency, coming from Alabama, I moved to Kentucky, and I was in Eastern Kentucky, where there weren't a lot of people that looked like me. So I was the only African-American woman at my job, in the gym that I worked out at my church. And so, I didn't really have anyone in a group with me to kind of understand what I was going through and to support me. But with this cohort model, the RAs, they're not in it alone. They have each other. They have the support of us from the Washington office, as well as you and others. And so again, this peer-to-peer support that they receive to kind of just encourage them to get through whatever challenges they have, to share trainings and opportunities, to share success stories, highlights, it really makes a difference receiving that support that they do. So let's talk a little bit about the roles and responsibilities. So for the Washington office, my staff, we take care of all of the Washington office agreements. Okay, so doing all of the working with GNA as far as creating those agreement packages, the statement of works, actual agreement itself, financial plans, we take care of all of that. The onboarding, our staff is responsible for the initiating the profiles, ordering the computers. So you don't have to do any of that. Our staff take care of all of the onboarding for all of the RAs that are going to be on a national agreement. The orientation, we take care of all of the organization and facilitation of the orientation, although, there are a number of you that have helped us in the past and will definitely continue to lean on you to kind of help us in the future orientation as well. But the bulk of the work and the responsibility falls on the Washington office. The reporting and policy, whether it's NRM reporting or our VSP reporting, we take care of that again with your assistance. There are still some things that you as a liaison are required to do, but again, the bulk of it or responsibility is the Washington office. For you as a liaison, I have kind of some main points here, but then I have some other things too that I want to hit on as a liaison. So for you as a liaison, it's important for you to kind of you're a middleman, right? You're the middleman to support the partner at times. You're the middleman to support the RAs for sure, and also the host units and the mentors. So, you take the guidance that we have at the Washington office as far as how to manage the program, and you implement it at your level, and you provide that support to your region, station, or area. So whether that's giving presentations about the RAP program, making sure again that they understand what it is so that when they apply to the program, that they have chosen the correct program, that they understand the benefits of it, and the goal of the program. And what I have here, coordinate RA requests. So as you are vetting your units to make sure that, again, it is an appropriate unit, and not just an appropriate unit, but an appropriate mentor, someone that does have the time and capability to train and mentor someone, making sure that that person is in place and they know what those roles and expectations are as a mentor to this program. And make sure that, things like the funding is in place. So there's a lot of different things that are kind of broken up under that coordinating the RA request. And you also provide RA and mentor support and issue certificates. So kind of breaking that down a little bit. Again, when it comes to the coordination, you are vetting the units, you're verifying the mentor, and you're verifying funding. We always have kind of, I would say challenges, if you will, with the funding. There have been times where, a unit will submit a position, a liaison will say that they validated everything, and then, we get to time for them to link the funds, and the job codes are over exceeded or the job code is incorrect. And so just little things like that. When it's time for you to validate those positions, just if you can, just kind of take the time to make sure that the funding is truly indeed in place, that they understand that it is the current FY funds that we're going to be looking to link, not the next year's FY, because we ran into that issue. So just again, making sure that you're able to do your part to help us to have a smooth process when it comes to our timelines that we have. In addition to that, ensuring that the funds are linked. When we ask you guys to link those funds, I always copy you on those emails that go out to the unit. So just checking in with the unit, say, hey, just checking in and make sure, you got your funds linked to the Washington office agreement. You got 2 days left or 1 day left. We do send out reminders too, but it just helps a lot when we know that we have you as a liaison that's also helping us to check in with those units to see if that has been done. When we talk a little bit about mentor support, we want to make sure that they are being responsive to the partners, right? So there's been times where, it's time for the mentor to provide their PDs to the partners and they haven't responded. The partners have reached out to them and asked them for their PD information and they just haven't emailed them back, or they emailed them and they didn't give them the correct information. Or the one thing that I tell them not to do always in that, to provide them with the Forest Service standard PD. That's not what we do. So again, just making sure that you are supporting the mentor and making sure that they know how to draft that PD and how to be responsive, and that they're being responsive in general to the partner, so that we don't hold up that recruitment process. And I know some of you are like, okay, that's easy, Sylvia, that's simple. But there's a lot of units and mentors that haven't done that in the past. And so we've had partners that will reach out to us and say, it's the last week of recruitment and I still haven't heard from this mentor. So again, just expressing the need and concern that we have for you guys to be able to connect with your mentors and making sure that they are responsive. Which we encourage you to have mentor meetings. I know some regions are already doing this. So you know who your mentors are, you know the timelines that we provide. Meet with them as well. Have your own individual meeting with them. So the Washington office, we have mentor meetings, but it never hurts for you guys to meet with them as well to answer any additional questions that they have. Make sure they understand what happens next and to see how you can best support them. When it comes to supporting the RAs, you're provided with the RAs that are going to be, joining your particular region, station, area. Send them a quick email. Say, welcome to the region. Welcome to, this particular research station. How can I help you? Have you talked to your mentor? You'd be surprised how many RAs have not really had much communication with their mentors prior to them starting. So even with you just checking in, then you're able to help facilitate some of those conversations and just make sure that the RA feels supported and valued coming into their RA-ship. Having check-ins. I know a lot of liaisons have like ongoing meetings, whether it's monthly or bi-monthly, that they are having these meetings just to kind of have a check-in or checking in on accomplishments, challenges, whatever the RAs need, and just spending that quality time with them again so that they feel supported and heard and that we want them to be in the agency. Networking them within the region, station areas, especially for those units that don't have that position at the end. Share out their RA, invite them to a meeting, introduce them to different staff areas. Make sure your leadership knows who they are so that you can expose them and make sure that they are set up for successful hiring. And then the last piece with the RA is the conflict management. So, every program is going to have challenges when it comes to conflict management. And so there have been challenges where we've had, an RA that may disagree with their mentor or the work that they're doing or what have you. And so it's going to be your responsibility as a liaison to have that initial conversation first before it's brought to the Washington office. And then sometimes it's brought to the Washington office first. And what I do is send it right back to you as a liaison. So I may just ask you, hey, are you aware of this? If not, do you mind looking into this before it's brought to the Washington office? And so a lot of times things can be handled at the lower level. And so I like to allow liaisons to do that. And so again, you'll be passed that information so that you can then engage with that RA, with that mentor, talk to the partner to understand the situation and see how you guys can best find the best solution. And then if the WO is needed to be brought into the conversation or the situation, then we're here to support you. Last couple things that I have here is the extensions. Extensions are pretty much kind of the same as, coordinating the initial RA request, making sure that extension is truly needed. Understanding if they're trying to hire them or what is the intent for the extension, how long they need the extension for, and again if the funding is in place. The issuance of the certificates. I'm actually going to show you guys a certificate at some point in the presentation after my slides are done. We have been working to update our certificates and kind of revamp our certificate issuance process. So we have like a SOP that we'll be sharing with you guys on how to issue the certificate, as well as I'm going to show you guys what the new certificate looks like. We're still waiting on the final approval of our certificate, but we will have that ready to share out. But while I'm talking about certificates, just keep in mind that cohort 6 that started in February, they're hitting their hours like right now. All throughout this week, you should probably be starting to receive SOCs, the statement of completions, to issue those certificates. So you can, until we provide you guys with the new certificate, you can continue to use the old certificate. And again, remember those certificates must be signed by a regional forester, a deputy regional forester, station director, or the WO director only, unless they have designated someone else. but that is the official RAP policy for issuing certificates. Okay, and then the last thing is reporting. There's some changes coming with our VSP reporting. As that comes out, we'll be sure to share the information about reporting. But then there is some additional roles that you guys have as relates to reporting, and just making sure that we are reporting the correct RA information. This is just a quick look at our partners. Of course, at the top are our national partners, and at the bottom are our regional partners. Again, all of you don't have regional agreements, regional partners. For a long time, there's been a lot of discussion around the future of our regional agreements. It's still a discussion being had, and so hopefully we'll have some guidance soon as far as how we will continue to move forward. But the guidance, as you guys know, in the past have been to spend down those agreements, the agreement funds, as we move forward. And we really want to get everyone on the same schedule. So even if you are working with a regional partner, the goal is to get everyone on the same schedule, again, so that we can really increase our results of this program and just make sure all of the RAs and the partners are fully supported. So this gives you kind of like a base snapshot of the cost for RAs. These numbers can fluctuate, especially when you're looking at costs such as like the health insurance and the recruitment fee and stuff like that. Some of these things can change, or even the background check. So for this program, when it comes to the living allowance and stipend, our base cost or our base offer to an RA is $500. We have $500, $650, and $750 are the weekly stipends that an RA can receive. And so when the units submit their request, they are making that selection of if they want to pay them the $500, the $650, or the $750. Each RA also receives $2,750 of training travel allowance, which I know there's been a lot of questions and discussion around training travel. And so, what we like to do is best put it this way. That's for professional development. So if it's a conference or a training that the RA is going to support them in their professional goals, be it that position that they're currently in or the position that they would like to be hired in, that's what those funds are for, right? So we should be using it for that. And it's a conversation that's going to be had between the mentor and the RA to decide how best to use that. It's not about the mentor already having a plan drawn out of where these funds will be, how the funds will be used, and telling the RA, this is what you're going to do with these funds. It's a conversation, and it's something that they both should discuss and agree upon, again, because it is for the development of the RA. So again, just making sure that we are using those training travel funds to support professional development. And the last thing I'll say about that is, yes, you can also, the RA can also use these funds for, let's say they want to enroll in a course to get some additional course hours to qualify for a position or get a certificate, or even buy some boots. It again supports their position, so they can use that money for even things like that. So let's just make sure that we are truly supporting the RA and the units with separating the money that we have for that training travel versus the unit wanting them to go to the neighboring forest or region or district to get work done and taking it out of this particular cost here. So just wanted to point that out. In addition to that, all RAs also receive $1,000 a month as a housing allowance, and this is regardless of if they are in person or working virtually. They receive $50 a month as a commuter allowance if they are working in person. If they are working virtually, then we're able to reallocate those funds to support them in a different way. Outreach fee is what we pay the partners to do recruitment, and healthcare. We do provide healthcare. An RA can opt in or opt out of healthcare. If they opt out, again, that's another one of those line items where we're able to reallocate the funds to support them, be it for an extension or additional training travel funds or any other area that we think we can support the RA in. So talking a little bit about the cohort, the winter 2024 cohort, this is kind of just a quick snapshot of the main areas of the timeline. Again, we will send out a We'll send out an email that have kind of more detailed timeline for the recruitment selection period, as I always do. But I just kind of want to show you guys what this timeline looks like. I think I've shared this before, but if it's your first time seeing it, of course, right now we are in our agreement phase. And so we're waiting on GNA to send back our documents so we can get them signed. And so we're a little bit off of that date of July the 28th, but not too much. I definitely anticipate the agreements being executed within the next couple of weeks. With those agreements being executed within the next couple of weeks, will allow us plenty of time to prepare for our September 1st date of rolling these positions out and having them posted on our partner job board. Again, these positions will be posted on all of our partner job boards on the national agreements, not USA Jobs, but the partner job boards for interested applicants to apply. They'll have until October the 27th to apply for these positions. After that, then we'll go through the interview and selection period. And again, you'll be provided a timeline that kind of breaks down that interview time. And so again, that's another one of those areas where you can support your mentors, making sure they understand that timeline and that they're hitting those dates, because it's so important for us to start onboarding on time so that we have enough time to get all of the RAs onboarded prior to orientation. Really quickly, I wanted to address this really fast. There were questions about, how RAs were selected or RA positions were selected. So just to give you an example, during that time period in June where we're validating. So, once the positions are submitted to the Washington office, we consolidate them and send them back to you as a liaison for you to validate and vet it, again, to make sure the funding is there, make sure it's a good unit, make sure it's a good mentor, to understand the expectations of the program and what the program is. You send that back to us. Once we receive that final list from you, then we go through the list again to make the final selection of the cohort. Now, what happened this last time is that we received over 150 new RA requests, but we had over 60 deferred positions. And so if you remember in the call letter, we wanted to have a cohort cap of 150. Well, that meant that, we could not receive or accept and approve all of the RA requests that we received, because it was received over 150. So with the deferred positions, when I say deferred, that means any positions that were not filled with previous cohorts, whether it was the winter or whether it was the summer 2023 cohort, winter 2023, or even summer 2022 cohort. Any of those deferred positions from previous cohorts that are still on an active agreement, they are in a deferred category. So our goal is to focus on those, especially if they are on an agreement that's expiring. So we have to prioritize those. So having over 60 plus of those deferred positions meant that we had to decline or deny a good number of new requests. And so there were some criteria that we shared in that call letter that went out, that we did go by that. So some of those things was, looking at the position type, seeing if it was the best fit for the RAP program. With this program, we really try to focus on the professional series positions, not technician positions. Looking to see if there was a vacant position that was going to be supported at the end, or if there was going to be support within the region station area to hire them. Looking at who the mentor was, right? Making sure that an appropriate mentor was identified for that unit. So there were a number of things that we looked at to make those decisions, and we just had to go through. And we also, the other thing I'll say that we looked at too was we looked at how many positions were already deferred in a particular region station area. So we want to make sure that we did give a fair opportunity to each region station area to have full representation in the cohort without one or two regions taking the majority of the positions. So those are some of the things that were kind of taken in consideration when we went through our approval process. So once we approved those positions, then we informed them of who would move forward. And then that's when we started building out those financial plans and assigning them to the partners so that we could see what the cost was. And then that's when we come back to you and them to link the funds. So just wanted to cover that part because I know there were some questions about kind of how we approve the positions and even making the assignment to the partners. We looked at the positions types and tried to group some of them with the same partner, as well as where partners have been successful in the past with position types, or even, you know, what particular regions they've been successful, or if there's a certain region that the partners are looking to engage and tap into. So again, a number of things that goes into the consideration of making the selection approvals as well as the assignments. This is just a quick snapshot of the summer 2024 cohort. This timeline looks a lot like our summer 2023 cohort timeline did. So again, this will be shared out, but I won't kind of spend a whole lot of time on this. As you can see, the deadline for requests will be early January. So it's going to be important for you to start sharing this information with your region, station, and areas now to say, hey, if you're interested in a position, you got to start figuring it out. We'll drop these, the intake portal will be open come November. They can apply for the positions. And, you know, we'll go through this whole process again, starting early January. And then the one thing I wanted to point out was the summer co-orientation. So in the past, we have had our orientations in the month of June, but now we're looking at the month of July for a number of reasons. That's one of the biggest changes with this cohort. And then the other thing I want to point out really quickly too is that during our recruitment and application period, we're wanting to try something that we haven't tried before, and that's having an on-the-spot hiring event for the RAP program. So not on-the-spot hiring for the Forest Service, but for the RAP program, because we can do that. So there's going to be a conference in Chicago, Illinois. It's the Manners Conference. We're going to use that platform and that event as a on-the-spot hiring event for the RAP program. There'll be more details to come. We'll share the dates and we'll share kind of what that'll look like, how you guys can best support us, and how we're going to work with the partners. All of the partners will be there. They have, you know, been provided this information, and we'll be talking more to them about this, but just kind of wanted to give you guys a heads up about that on-the-spot hiring event that's going to happen for the summer 2024 cohort. Almost done here, you guys. RAP resources. So when it comes to the resources that we have for the resources and program, we have our RA teams group. We have these groups set up by the cohort. So each cohort has a Microsoft Teams group, as well as we have one for all RAs, and then we have another one for those RAs that have transitioned into permanent positions. And so these groups are managed by Vanessa, so she provides the day-to-day support to them, answering their questions. It's pretty unique. They're sharing their accomplishments, cool things that they've done, trainings and opportunities that other RAs may not be knowledgeable about. So these teams groups have been very beneficial to the RAs, and especially, like I said, just kind of doing some customer service, getting quick questions answered without it having to be an email. So we provide that day-to-day support through the Microsoft Teams. We do have a SharePoint site. If you're not familiar with that site, Vanessa, if you can, drop that into the chat box. If you haven't been there, we encourage you to go visit that site. There's a lot of resources there for the RAs, for you, or for anyone in the agency. So as you're doing presentations about the program and, you know, hiring managers want more information, you can point them to that SharePoint site. As you visit the SharePoint site, if you see that there's information that we're not currently sharing that you feel would be beneficial, let us know. And we can always make those updates to the SharePoint site to make sure that we are providing the necessary information. The other resources that the RAs receive are just a connection that they have, to the Washington office, liaisons like yourself, connecting them to the recruiters that we have an agency that can help them with their resumes, help them with USA Jobs, although we do provide that as well in the Washington office through various webinars, like the midterm workshop that we have where we go through their resumes, we go through USA Jobs, the hiring authorities, hiring events, the hiring process. But we also have recruiters, so connect them to the recruiters so that they can also have that support there. They have the partner program managers that provide ongoing support. So if you weren't aware, our partners, I don't think all of them provide a monthly meeting, but majority of them do provide some type of ongoing support meeting. They have different topics that they'll have for that meeting. They'll have different presenters that come and talk about USA jobs or resumes or positions or just different topics that they'll have. So just know that there's a lot of support that's put into this program at various levels for the RAs. And it's just about them knowing and you knowing too, so that you can make sure that they are engaged. And the last thing is our RAP Connect portal. Vanessa can drop that into the chat as well. We are going to be bringing that in-house. Right now it is outsourced, but the RAP Connect portal, if you're not familiar with it, is the platform that we have for RAs to be able to engage with hiring managers to make that connection. So they're able to create a profile, share information about themselves, share their resume, and hiring managers, for service employees, can also create a profile as a hiring manager, and they can post their positions or share information or connect with an RA that could potentially be hired through the RAP Connect portal. We're hoping as we go into next year that we'll have our in-house portal where we're gonna, really be focusing on our RAs as well as our PLC participants. So we look forward to sharing more information as we get more information about that in-house portal. But right now we're going to continue to use the RAP Connect portal. So if you haven't been on there, I encourage you to create a profile, play around with it so you can understand it, so you can continue to best support the hiring managers in your region station area, as well as your RAs. I think this is my last slide. For RAP hiring, when I say RSA retention, I know there's a lot of units or a lot of regions that are like, we invested in this RA, we want to keep this RA. So I wanted to make sure that you guys understand that there's a lot of other hiring initiatives going on right now. So if you know that your region want to retain your RA, it's important for you to connect with your RAs and connect with them early to let them know, hey, we want to keep you here. What can we do to support you? What is the position that you want to be in? So understanding what their interests are and their needs are and connecting with them early, because they will be connected with other hiring initiatives. So that's one area of hiring, is just you working with the RA to keep them in your region station or area, and working with your leadership too to understand kind of what that support looks like. Can you guys create a new box for an RA? How many boxes are available within your region station area? What does the funding look like? So having those conversations early on with your leadership and your RA. The RAP Connect portal, which is what I've already went over. The WE team, we're working very closely with the WE team to identify RAs that are interested in all of those positions that they have. So with the WE team, workforce entry, if you're not familiar, they have a list of different categories of positions that they're focusing on throughout the year to hire. And so they are prioritizing the RAP hiring for each group. So as an example, with the 401 group, we were able to hire some RAs and appoint them into positions within that WE event. So we will continue to work with them. The HOT team, the hiring, onboarding, timeline team. So you guys may be familiar with a lot of our collective hiring events like SAL, Society of American Foresters, SRM, Society of Range Management, our STEM event, and others, temp hire. So newly added to the HOT team calendar is the RAP matching event. That's going to be next year. I don't have all the details yet. We're still working through those, but we will be hopefully sharing that information soon. But the goal there is to look at the RAs that we have, see what their interests are, see what their qualifications are, see what positions we have in the agency, and just play the matchmaking game and just get all RAs hired. Leadership has made a strong commitment to hire all RAs that have an interest. And so these are just, again, some of the many ways that we are going to be providing that opportunity to the RAs to be hired. So again, more information to come on that HOT team RA matching event. And then the last thing is the Regional Foresters Hiring Initiative. So the Regional Foresters asked for a list of RAs that want to be hired. In my last meeting with the group, I did share with them like, hey, we have liaisons. Like, don't look over your liaisons, meet with your liaison. They can also share with you who's in your region that wants to be hired. So if you get tapped from your regional forester, your deputy regional forester asking about RAs, that's why, because they've been asking lately to have access to any RAs that want to be hired. So we recently created a RA dashboard that we are working on figuring out how to best manage it to provide this information on an ongoing basis to your leadership. And so again, more information will come out about that, but we can share, I think we can share that link with you guys as well for the RA dashboard, but that information does need to be updated. It has all of the RAs that are eligible to be hired, but it kind of has some old information. So the information is not as current as like the RAP Connect portal, but it is our information about them. So just again, wanted to share all of those details about these various ways that we are supporting the RAs as it relates to hiring. And with that, I think I'm done. So this is just a quick silly picture that we took with the RAs in Colorado back in June. So with that, thank you guys. I'm going to stop sharing. I know that was a lot of information, but at this time I'll pause for some questions before I pull up the certificate to show you guys. And so if you have any questions, feel free to just either drop it into the chat or use the hand raising function, and then we can call on you to answer your questions. And then, like I said, I'll also show you guys the new certificate and stuff, but we'll go ahead and take some questions. Rachel?
Hi, Sylvia and team. Thank you so much for all that incredible information. I'm sure, as you always do, it'd be great to get a copy of that. Had some great dates and just resources in it that I'd love to be able to reference back to. I did have a couple of quick follow-up questions, and I know we're running low on time, but you had talked in the roles and responsibilities section kind of about drafting position descriptions and being the liaisons kind of playing a role in being responsive to the partners and helping keep mentors on track. And so my first experience with the national partners was this last winter cohort, and we weren't involved. I wasn't looped into any of that hiring process from any of the partners. And so I'm wondering how I could go about getting looped into that for this next round of hirings, because I would love to be more involved in tracking it with, in concert with the partners so that I can make sure the mentors are responding and that they're getting what they need to, as opposed to just waiting until something's wrong and then getting contacted. So is that something I need to facilitate with the partners that we end up getting matched up with?
Yes, so the same way we provide the partners with the list of our region station area liaisons, you guys should have, if you don't have, let us know who those program managers are for the partners. So once you receive your list of RAs and you see what partner they are assigned to, then you can send a quick email just to introduce yourself, or not necessarily introduce yourself if they already know who you are, but just say, hey, just checking in to see how I can best support you during this timeline for this particular cohort. I see that we have 5 Region 6 RAs with Mobilize Green. So just wanted to make sure that you knew I was here to support you. Let me know when you start engaging with the mentors, something as simple as that. And then they will know who you are. They'll know that you want to be included, because truth be told, not all regions have had a support person. So sometimes the partners don't know if they have a person in that region that can help them. So if you kind of like make that introduction, they know that you're there, they'll contact you instead of contacting me, because they'll email me and say, Sylvia, this person isn't responding. And then typically I'll send it to the liaison like, hey, can you help this? Can you find out what's going on? But if they already know who you are, they know you're there to help them, and they'll definitely reach out to you instead of bringing it back to our team. So that's what I would do when we give you guys the list and you see what partners they're with. Just shoot them a quick email and just say, hey, just checking in to let you know I'm here to support you. Let me know how I can.
That sounds great. I'd love to do that. Unfortunately, I don't think I have that list of the program managers for the national partners. So if someone could send that to me, I would definitely do that and appreciate that guidance from you. One other quick question I'll just throw in here at the end is on the mentor call, or I don't know if it's a question, but on the mentor call on Thursday, I'm getting a lot of questions from mentors about both the position descriptions, like you talked about earlier, and And also the like interview process, like do they have a set of questions they have to ask? Is there like a specific form they're supposed to use to score candidates, etc.? And so any guidance or clarification you can provide on that on Thursday, I think would be really helpful to mentors. So I'll stop there and let others ask questions. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you for that. And that's exactly what Thursday's call is. So we have that call because we don't want to assume that people know what RAP is, for one, and what's going to be expected. So we have that early call to let them know, well, first of all, welcome to RAP. This is what RAP is. This is what be expected. This is how you do this. These are the resources that you have available. So we kind of outline everything in that call. It is a recorded call. We do share it. And so that's kind of like our first way of trying to provide Washington office level support to the mentors. So all of that, yes, will be covered in that call. Are there any other questions?
So we look like Daisy had to drop off, but she did ask for those RAs coordinated by the Washington office, for example, law enforcement and climate change. Traditionally, we, as in the liaisons, have not verified mentors minutes. Does the Washington office do that?
Yeah, so for law enforcement, we do have a law enforcement liaison, which is Brandon Robinson, until that changes. But yeah, he's typically the person that kind of facilitates that and should be working with you guys closely once a region is identified that they're going to have a law enforcement officer in that region. He should be working closely with you guys, but he does that validation for law enforcement. And for climate, we have Dixie Porter, who works with our climate group on validating those positions, because they're all across the agency as well.
And Angela has her hand up.
I had a question. When a RAP candidate completes their hours and has their degree, who issues the letter, their certificate for their hiring?
Yeah, so the statement, what happens is the RA will send an email to the partner to let the partner know that they are requesting their certificate, because the ball is in their court to request it unless they are at the end of their term. So if they're at the end of the term, they automatically get it issued. But if, let's say, like right now, the RAs have hit their mark, but they're 8 or 12-month RA, they have to send the email to initiate that request. And then the partners will generate what we call a statement of completion. They're going to send that to you as a liaison. And it's going to have all of the details that you need to complete the certificate, and then you will complete it. You'll get it signed, and then you'll issue it to the RA. So that's the process.
Okay, so when I issue the certificate, does the signature on the certificate, is it our director or is it a HR person, or who is the actual person that signs the certificate?
Yeah, so for the region, it's going to be the regional forester, the deputy regional forester. For research, it's going to be your station director.
Okay.
And for the Washington office, it's going to be our director and NPO, which is Gary Barrett.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll have, Vanessa is going to share with you guys a link to a folder. We're going to have like a RAP liaison folder. And we're also working on a RAP liaison SOP that we're going to share out. So you guys will have access to a folder that's going to have all these resources for you guys, including a SOP on how to issue the certificate.
Okay. And that template for the certificate will be in that folder as well?
Yes, we'll have all of that in the folder. Yes.
Okay, because I just received my first one today, so I'll be working on that.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, we'll make sure that we go ahead and send you the original one, and then once we get our new one approved, then we'll share that out as well.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Don, I think that was the next hand.
Yeah, my question's related to a similar thing. I've got a couple certificates and I've got the form signed and by the regional forester, but you know, the form has the little submit button. So do I ignore that, or do I just send the certificate to the RA?
Yeah, so if you have just this week on Monday, I know that went live on Monday. If you receive that new certificate, do not use that yet. Just use, like I said, the one that we've been previously using until we provide you guys with the new certificate. Because that was one of the things our forms people forgot to submit button. So we're waiting on them to put that back in place.
I'm using the old form, but it has the submit button. So do I still need to use that?
Oh, you said it does have the submit button?
Yeah, it's the old form.
Yeah. Go ahead and use the one that we've always used. And hit that submit button. It's going to generate an email. You're going to email it to that candidate, the RA candidate, as well as the partner. Make sure to include the partner so they'll have a copy. And then, leave our inbox thing in there too, so that we'll have a copy. And then that's how you issue it. So yes, go ahead and submit that.
And is there a place where I attach the partner's completion certificate to that, or?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. Once you get the statement of completion from the partner, you use that document to then generate the certificate. And then once the certificate is generated and signed, then that's when you just issue the certificate. You don't have to do anything else with the statement of completion.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Sorry, we didn't allocate more time to this. This is a lot more information and than we thought that we needed to share, which means we should do this more often. But Vanessa.
Before we, if folks still have like a minute, I have met many of you, like also in person. It was really great to see some of you in Colorado, but I have not met everyone. And would it be cool if they just say hello and that'd be fine.
Yeah. Did we get all the questions first? So. Okay, I think we did. All right. So, yeah, I think we can do that really quickly before we go. I know some people are already gone. So we'll just go through the regions real quick. Region 1. Is Jeff here? No. Region 2.
Lauren's left.
Okay, I think Chandra did as well. Daisy left from Region 3. Region 4, do we have Brian or Nancy? No. Region 5, hey Taylor.
Hello. I think we've all met, so but just figured I'd pop on.
Yeah. Thank you. Region 6.
Yes, I think we've all met too for the most part, but hi, you guys. Thanks again. This was great. Super, super helpful.
No problem. Thanks, Rachel. Region 8.
Good afternoon, everybody on the call. I'm multitasking. But Jonathan Gill, regional recruiter for Region 8, liaison for the RAP program.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Hello, thank you. Region 9, Jesse, Josh.
I think Jesse left.
Okay. Region 10, Don.
Hi, we've all met. I'm Don in Juneau, Alaska. Great seeing you all again.
Thank you, thank you. Washington office R&D.
Hi, I'm Margaret Gregory. I was former RAP, so I met y'all on the RAP orientation like more than a year ago. So I'm just acting.
Thank you, Margaret. All right. ITF. Oh, she's not here.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are. You made it. Oh, great.
Yes.
Oh,
hi, everybody. I am Carmen from IITF. I've been covering this position of RAP liaisons since 3 years ago, but now Marinelli Talavera is my supervisor. She's on vacation, but we're gonna be working this program together. Nice to meet you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Carmen. All right. NRS.
Oh, I think that was Angela.
Angela, did she have to
Just left.
hop off?
Mhm.
Okay. PNW.
Hello, everyone. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. So I had a problem. I was just on a meeting and my mic didn't work, so I'm glad. So my name's Audrey Matsumonji and I'm on a detail to PNW and as the workforce planning specialist. It's a working title, but so I'm don't believe I've met hardly any of you. I know that there's a few people that I do know, but so I'm glad to be working on this and being the liaison for the resource assistance.
Awesome. Thank you so much and welcome. PSW.
I'm Valerie. I guess I'm considered the PSW liaison. I'm actually in a detail with Region 5 at the moment. And I don't know, we don't have anybody backfilling my position at the moment, and I'm not sure who that liaison is going to be anymore.
Okay.
So
how long is your
that,
detail?
It's actually over on Friday, but I've got some stuff going on for the future that hasn't been announced yet. So I don't know who will then still be the liaison.
Gotcha. Okay, well, just keep us posted.
I will for sure.
Thank you.
All right.
RMRS. SRS.
Hi, I'm Tina Bailey, and I am actually the HR and Civil Rights Liaison for the station and also RAP Liaison. And I am not in Nashville, I'm actually in Georgia. But nice to meet everybody that I haven't met.
Thanks,
I'm
Tina.
Kayla.
All right, and then for the Washington office, Vanessa Reyes is kind of our liaison, if you will, for the Washington office RAs, and she does all the certificate issuance and stuff for the Washington office RAs. Okay, so I think we got everyone. Did I miss anyone that's on the call that didn't speak up?
I think Piper.
Piper, it's Region 4. Okay, well, again, we will share this recording and we will share the resources folder. Since we're past time, I won't go over the certificate since it's not ready anyways. We'll save that, but we will share that out widely once it's ready to be used. But again, for the time being, just use the form that we have been using, the certificate that we've been using that does have the submit button. And once we do have that approved new form, we will share that out. On the call on Thursday, we will be having, again, that overview for the new mentors. Our partners will also be on that call. Our Washington office or Washington national partners will be on the call as well. If you're available to join, please join. If not, that's okay. We will record it and we'll share it. If you know of a mentor that's not invited, please share the invite with them and make sure that they are there. If not, we will follow up with them afterwards. And with that, let me make sure was that all that we needed to tell them. Oh, we provided you guys a access to your folder. Please take a look at your positions to make sure that we are tracking those correctly. I know some of you guys sent some emails with some individual changes and updates, but it's been a lot going on, so I wasn't able to make a lot of those updates. So if you can just take the time to look at your own list and make those updates for any new mentors or locations based off of what you see in the form, please do so that we can have those current updates. And then the last thing is that we do want to create a story map, which we'll talk more about on Thursday. So helping us to get the correct zip codes for each position will help us for that story map. So thank you again so much for joining us today. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what we are needing from you guys to best support us in the Washington office, as well as supporting the RAs and the mentors and the partners. And And Vanessa, can you stop the recording before I say the other piece?